welcome to another episode. Today we're doing another one of my rewind videos where I look back at a past visit to a record store that I really like. Today we're talking about the great CD Trader in Tarzana, California. It's out on Ventura in the valley there. It's a really good store. It's pretty spacious, huge selection. Prices are always really good. So I've mentioned a few times that I have this handful of stores whenever I'm in Los Angeles that I go to sort of my rounds, and CD Trader is always one of them. This visit was from September 15th, 2018, and I was there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to do the math, sorry. Bunch of these CDs, there might have been a sale going on, I'm not sure, but a bunch of these were bargain ones that were like, $2 or something. And then one was brand new that was only $8, and it's good prices. So, like I said, I'm not sure if there was any kind of special sale going on that day, but good prices, good selection. Let's take a look what I got that day at CD Trader. 1984, we got the Butthole Surfers and their CD, Psychic Powerless, Another Man's Sack. What a great title. Butthole Surfers, how do you describe them? I don't know. They're kind of undescribable, aren't they? Sort of like noise, punk. I feel like you got to be in the right frame of mind to really listen to the Butthole Surfers, especially the early stuff. It's not instantly accessible. I think, a lot of people came to them from when they had that kind of hit. I guess it was 96 with Pepper. But that's not really indicative of what you're getting when you listen to the Butthole Surfers. I have a couple of CDs by them, and I'm not a huge fan, and I knew of them, but even I think really hadn't really heard anything until Pepper came along, if I'm being honest. I don't think I had, or if I did, I didn't know it was them. But you always heard that name and just kind of laughed at it, whatever. But kind of interesting stuff. Like I said, I feel like you got to kind of be in the right frame of mind to dive into this early stuff, How's about that? Look at that inside of the booklet there. A drove of information about this record. Whatever, what are you going to do? But there were a couple of tracks on here that I like, and they were Mexican Caravan and Gary Floyd. Those are the two that really stood out to me. But dive in, be warned, you might not like it, but it's interesting. 1988, we got Big Audio Dynamite and their album Tighten Up, Volume 88. Now, I know if you're all out there digging around, there aren't volumes 1 through 87. That was my attempt at a horrible joke. You're welcome. But, so Big Audio Dynamite, this is made up of Mick Jones from The Clash and the great Don Letts, who's been around the kind of punk reggae scene. If you've ever watched a punk documentary, especially if it focuses on any British bands, you certainly know Don Letts. But my introduction, I think, was hearing the tune Champagne, which is on this album. I want to say I heard it on FM 106.3, the radio station we had around here. It was almost like a college radio, but it wasn't college radio, and just introduced us to so many great like alternative bands and stuff. But that's where I think I first heard Champagne, and really liked it, and just never picked up any albums by them or anything. And now, years later, I have a handful by them, a couple of them. I think a best of as well. Of course, they really kind of hit it big when they, I guess, had a bit of a lineup change and became Big Audio Dynamite 2. And they had the album The Globe, which I think was pretty successful for them. But cool band. Some of the tracks on here I like are Rock Nonstop, Other 99, Apple Cart, Escarita, Mr. Walker Said, and The Battle of All Saints Road, which is another one I liked on here. And obviously, of course, like I mentioned, Champagne is on here, and that's probably one of my favorite tracks by them. But good pickup. 1998, we have Air and their album Moon Safari. It's funny, it says Air French Band on the side. I don't remember ever noticing that before. But hey, they're a French band. Good record, electronica. There's a lot of instrumentals on here that I actually really like quite a bit. A couple of tunes with vocals. I think the first thing I heard by this band was the song Kelly Watch the Stars, and I might have heard that like on a music podcast or something. And I kind of put that on like my list of albums sort of look out for. It's kind of got that like late night kind of 70s vibe to it, sort of chill music put on late nights, that sort of thing, you know. Little drawings and stuff in the booklet there. Some of the tracks on here, I can't get the booklet in right now. Some of the tracks on here that I like are La Femme d'Argent, I'm butchering that of course. Like I mentioned, Kelly Watch the Stars, and Si Matin La. How's about that? You're getting a little lesson in how to speak French from me today as well, right? I'm passing with flying colors, aren't I? Everybody out there who knows French are like, oh, what is he doing? But anyways, that's Air, the French band. 2016, we get the Lumineers and their album Cleopatra. I think this is their second record. I think they have 3 records. They might have just put out a 4th record, but I have their first 3, and they're really good. You know, alternative rock, a little kind of folky, a little bit. Like a lot of their songs almost sound a bit like sing-along-ish, if that makes sense. But I like this. I remember hearing Cleopatra on the radio and was kind of, you know, looking for this CD, and then I found it finally there at CD Trader, and for a great price. There's a couple of bonus tracks on the album here. Kind of cool artwork. Looks almost like, I don't know if that's what they were going for. It must have been, but it reminds me of like an old silent film still or something like that, you know. Booklet here, just plain. Just got the lyrics and stuff in it, nothing else. But really good. I like this record quite a bit. Did I mention that? Did I like it quite a bit already? Anyway, some of the tracks on here that I like are the title track, Cleopatra, like I mentioned, Ophelia, and Angela. All name songs. How's about that? And there's a song, Gail Song, which could be about a woman named Gail as well. And then a song called Gun Song, which is not. Although I guess you could name one of your kids Gun. People will probably look at you funny. 2017, we got Jimmy Cliff and Live in Chicago with the band The Roots Radix. This is a CD that was released of a concert that was broadcast on WXRT in Chicago in November 1978. He was promoting his album Give Thanks. And not bad, you know. I don't know why they specifically released this on CD all these years later. It's a good concert, but it doesn't sound like one of those like amazing nights caught on tape that, you know, you've got to hear this concert. But it's good. I mean, Jimmy Cliff has a couple of live records that you can pick from. But it's interesting because he does a couple of covers of songs that are from the soundtrack of The Harder They Come. But that was kind of cool to hear. There's some info in here about the time and Jimmy and everything. It's nice. They did a good job on the package here. But the tracks that I like on here are Wanted Man, Stand Up and Fight Back, Meeting in Africa, You Can Get It If You Really Want, Sitting in Limbo, The Harder They Come. And then, like I mentioned, he does these covers of songs from The Harder They Come soundtrack. He does Johnny Too Bad by the Slickers and Rivers of Babylon by the Melodians. He covers them, and they're okay. I mean, I still think the originals are better, but really cool. Like this one. Like I mentioned, I picked this one up brand new, and it was only like $8 or something like that. So that was a pretty good deal, even for just a brand new CD there at CD Trader. And 1986 brings us the soundtrack to Pretty in Pink, the John Hughes film. I remember seeing this film back in the day. It's okay. But I really liked the soundtrack. I remember liking a lot of the songs that were in here. I remember hearing a bunch of them on the radio, because it was probably right around when I was starting to, you know, I listened to a lot of top 40 or classic rock before that. And I think this is around, you know, when I'm starting to kind of hear more alternative stuff or college rock stuff, you know, and a lot of these bands kind of fit into that mold. And I always thought my favorite soundtrack of a John Hughes movie was Some Kind of Wonderful not crazy about the movie, but the soundtrack's really good. But I don't know, man. Like after listening to this one pretty recently, it's kind of a tough call. And it's funny because the two films are practically the same movie. But this is a really good soundtrack. And I remember, so it's titled, the movie was titled after a Psychedelic Furs song. And I remember reading in the liner notes of a Psychedelic Furs like best of, where the writer mentioned that he thought that John Hughes like horribly misinterpreted the lyrics to that Psychedelic Furs song. I don't know if that's true or not. Who knows? But nonetheless, Psychedelic Furs obviously were cool with everything because they re-recorded the song for this soundtrack. But it's really good. I mean, 80s, mid 80s alternative bands, great lineup on this soundtrack. The tunes I like on here are, of course, If You Leave by OMD. It was a huge hit. Left to Center by Suzanne Vega. Wouldn't It Be Good by Danny Hutton Hitters. Bring On the Dancing Horses by Echo and the Bunnymen. Shell Shock by New Order. And Round Round by Beloius Sum. I never could know how to pronounce that. But anyways, like you can hear, I mean, it's just an amazing lineup of bands. Like, you know, In Excess is on here too. The Smiths, you know, there's a lot of, you know, great artists that you think of, like alternative 80s kind of stuff, you know. Really good soundtrack. But that's it. That was my pickup at CD Trader. If you're in Los Angeles, you're visiting there, by all means, you're looking for a good record store to hit, you cannot go wrong with CD Trader. You got to get out there and support these shops, you know. I mean, we need to sort of help them sort of survive. We need them to survive. We need them out there, you know. It's great to have them still kind of hanging around all these years later. With that said, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.